On May 28, 2024, a 32-year-old mother named Jennifer George stepped foot in Georgia for the first time in her life. Right beside her stood her 17-year-old daughter, Mary, eyes wide, smile bright, visibly excited. This trip wasn't just special to them. It marked the beginning of something Jennifer had been praying for, after years of crushing loneliness and relentless struggle. A chance, just one chance, to finally be happy again. To breathe, without the weight of survival pressing down on her chest. But no one, not Jennifer, not Mary, not a single soul around them, would have known that this same trip, this hopeful, trembling leap of faith, would become one of their greatest mistakes ever. But why? What went so catastrophically wrong in those first 48 hours? And how in God's name does a mother and daughter disappear for 6 months without anyone knowing where they are? What you are about to hear is a disturbing true story. A story where trust was weaponized, where promises became a trap, where hope was used as bait. It exposed a criminal operation so hidden, so quietly monstrous, that most people don't even know it exists. This is the story of Jennifer and Mary George.
Welcome to True Crime Tapes, where we bring you the most gripping, mysterious, and heart-stopping stories from the world of true crime. If you're fascinated by the unknown and want to uncover the secrets that the world tries to hide, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a chilling story. And for those of you already part of our community, welcome back. We're glad to have you with us. Drop a comment below to share your thoughts and theories, because we love hearing from you. True Crime Tapes. The truth is always stranger than fiction.
Before she became a victim, Jennifer George was a survivor. But survival doesn't always prepare you for predators who study your weaknesses like a textbook. At 32 years old, Jennifer had already lived through more loss than most people experience in a lifetime. She was a widow, a single mother, a woman who had learned the hard way that not everyone who promises to stay actually will. 3 years ago, her world collapsed in a single moment. Her husband, Christian George, died from a sudden cardiac arrest at just 34 years old. One minute, he was laughing with their daughter Mary in the living room. The next minute, he was gone. No warning, no time to say goodbye. Just a phone call from the hospital that shattered everything Jennifer thought she knew about her future. She was 29 years old, suddenly alone, and responsible for raising a 14-year-old girl who had just lost her father. The grief was unbearable. Jennifer didn't know how to explain to Mary why her dad wasn't coming home. She didn't know how to pay the mortgage on a single income. She didn't know how to fall asleep at night without Christian beside her. But she had no choice except to keep going. Mary needed her, so Jennifer buried her pain deep inside and focused on the only thing that mattered anymore: keeping her daughter safe. For 2 years, Jennifer did everything alone. She worked long hours as a medical billing clerk to keep the lights on and food on the table. She attended every one of Mary's school events, even when she was so exhausted she could barely stand. She stayed up late helping with homework and woke up early to pack lunches. She smiled when Mary needed her to smile, even when all she wanted to do was cry. The weight of being both mother and father crushed her slowly, but she never let Mary see it. Then about a year ago, Jennifer tried something she swore she'd never do again. She started dating. A co-worker introduced her to a man who seemed kind and stable. He was older, divorced, had 2 grown children of his own. Jennifer thought maybe this could work. Maybe Mary could have a father figure again. Maybe she wouldn't have to carry everything alone anymore. So she said yes when he proposed. After 6 months of dating, she thought she was making the right choice. But the marriage lasted less than 4 months. The man she married made it clear from the beginning that Mary was not his responsibility. He didn't want to help with her college fund. He didn't want to attend her school functions. He made comments about how Jennifer spoiled her daughter and needed to put her husband first. The breaking point came when he told Jennifer she needed to choose. Either Mary moved out when she turned 18, or the marriage was over. Jennifer didn't even hesitate. She packed her things that same night and took Mary back to their old apartment. That decision cost her everything she had left. The divorce drained her savings. She had to start over again, this time with even less money and even more debt. But she didn't regret it for a second. Mary was her daughter, her only child. The one person in this world who mattered more than anything else. No man, no relationship, no promise of financial security was worth sacrificing her child's happiness. Jennifer's mission was clear and simple: protect Mary at all costs. After the divorce, Jennifer stopped trying to date. She stopped believing that someone could love both her and her daughter. She stopped hoping that life would get easier. She accepted that her world was small now. Just work, Mary, and survival. There was no time for herself, no energy for dreams, no space for anything except making sure her daughter had everything she needed to build a better future than Jennifer ever had. But isolation does something to a person over time. Jennifer felt it creeping in slowly, like frost spreading across glass. She had no close friends anymore because she never had time to maintain friendships. Her family lived in another state and barely kept in touch. Her coworkers were friendly but distant. Every day felt the same. Wake up, go to work, come home, cook dinner, help Mary with homework, pay bills, go to bed, repeat. She was functioning, but she wasn't living. She was surviving, but she wasn't happy. By the time Mary turned 17, Jennifer was burned out in every way possible. She loved her daughter fiercely. God, she loved her. But the constant pressure of being everything to everyone was breaking her. She needed help. She needed support. She needed someone to tell her she was doing a good job and that everything was going to be okay. She needed to feel like a woman again, not just a mother and a paycheck. That need, that desperate hunger for connection, made her vulnerable in ways she didn't even understand. Jennifer didn't know it yet, but that vulnerability was exactly what someone was looking for. Mary George was 17 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her: dreams of college, fashion design, maybe living in a big city one day. She was a good kid, smart, creative. She loved her mother fiercely, even when she saw how tired Jennifer was, how worn down by the weight of raising her alone. Mary remembered her father, Christian, in flashes: his laugh, the way he used to toss her in the air when she was little, the smell of his cologne. But mostly she remembered the hole his death left behind. She watched her mother crumble after he died, watched her try to hold it together, to be strong, to pretend everything was fine. But Mary wasn't stupid. She saw the exhaustion in Jennifer's eyes. She heard her crying at night when she thought Mary was asleep, and it broke her heart because there was nothing she could do to fix it. When Jennifer remarried, Mary was cautiously hopeful. Maybe this man could help her mom. Maybe they could be a family again. But that hope died quickly. The man didn't want her. He made that clear. And when Jennifer chose Mary over him, Mary felt two things at once: relief that her mother loved her enough to walk away, and guilt that she was the reason her mother was alone again. Mary wanted her mom to be happy. She wanted to see Jennifer smile without the sadness lurking behind it. She wanted her mom to stop working herself to death just to keep them afloat. And when Damon came into the picture, when he seemed kind and interested and actually cared about Mary, not just her mother, Mary let herself hope again. Maybe this time would be different. Maybe this man would be good for them. Maybe Mary could finally have a father figure again, someone to walk her down the aisle one day, someone to help her mom carry the weight. She had no idea what was waiting for them in Georgia, no idea that hope could be used as a weapon. Somewhere out there, a predator was searching for women just like Jennifer, tired, lonely, desperate for someone to see them. He knew how to spot the ones who were too exhausted to see the red flags. He knew how to offer exactly what they needed to hear. He knew how to make them believe he was the answer to all their problems. And when the time was right, he knew how to destroy them completely. Jennifer was isolated, emotionally drained, financially struggling. She had no support system, no safety net, no one to turn to when things got hard. She was the perfect target, and she had no idea she was being hunted. It started on a Tuesday night in late April. Jennifer was sitting on her couch after Mary had gone to bed, scrolling through her phone like she did most nights when the silence became too heavy. She remembered her cousin Brianna, who had met her husband on a dating app some years ago. They were happy. They had a baby now. They made it work. So what was the harm in trying? Jennifer downloaded the app and created a profile, her hands shaking the entire time. She chose a simple photo of herself smiling at a family cookout from last summer. She wrote a short bio that felt honest but not too revealing. She didn't mention how lonely she was or how scared she felt every single day. She just wanted to seem normal, approachable, maybe even worth talking to. The messages started coming in almost immediately. Most of them were crude or pointless. Men asking for photos, men making inappropriate comments, men who clearly didn't read her profile. Jennifer deleted most of them without responding. But then, around 10:30 that night, a message came through that was different. It was from someone named Damon Ellis. His profile said he was 35, lived in Georgia, and worked in property management. His photos showed a handsome man with a warm smile, a well-groomed beard, and kind eyes. His message was simple and respectful. "Hi, Jennifer. I saw your profile and wanted to say hello. You seem like a genuinely good person, and that's rare on here. Hope you're having a good night." Jennifer stared at the message for a long time before responding. Something about it felt sincere. He wasn't asking for anything. He wasn't being pushy. He just wanted to talk. So she wrote back, "Thank you. That's really kind of you to say. I'm new to this whole online dating thing, so I appreciate the nice message." What happened next surprised her. Damon didn't just reply with small talk. He asked her real questions. He wanted to know what kind of work she did, what she liked to do in her free time, what made her happy. The conversation flowed easily, and before Jennifer realized it, 2 hours had passed. She hadn't felt this connected to someone in years. Over the next few days, they talked constantly. Damon messaged her every morning with a simple, "Good morning, beautiful. Hope you have a great day." He checked in during her lunch breaks to ask how work was going. He called her in the evenings, and they talked for hours about everything and nothing. He told her about his job managing rental properties in Atlanta. He talked about his love for old-school R&B music and his dream of owning a bed and breakfast someday. He made her laugh in a way she hadn't laughed since Christian was alive. For the first time in 3 years, Jennifer felt like someone actually saw her, not just as a mother or an employee, but as a woman. But there was one thing Jennifer hadn't told him yet. She hadn't mentioned Mary. Every time the conversation got close to the topic of family, Jennifer changed the subject. She was terrified that if Damon knew she had a teenage daughter, he would disappear just like everyone else. Men didn't want to date single mothers. She had learned that the hard way. So she kept that part of her life hidden, even though the guilt ate at her every single day. She prayed about it constantly. "God, if this man is meant for me, please let him accept my daughter. Please don't let him leave when he finds out." 2 weeks into their daily conversations, Jennifer finally worked up the courage to tell him. They were on a video call late one night, and Damon was asking her about her weekend plans. Jennifer took a deep breath and said, "Damon, there's something I need to tell you. I have a daughter. Her name is Mary, and she's 17. I should have told you sooner, but I was scared you'd stop talking to me." She braced herself for the rejection. She waited for him to make an excuse and hang up. But instead, Damon smiled, a big, genuine smile that made her chest tighten with relief. "Jennifer, why would I stop talking to you because you have a daughter?" he said, his voice soft and reassuring. "That makes me respect you even more. You're a mother. You're raising a child on your own. That takes strength. I think that's beautiful." Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Really?" she whispered. "You're not upset?" Damon shook his head. "Not at all. I want to know everything about her. What's she like? What does she enjoy? What are her dreams?" And just like that, the fear that had been suffocating Jennifer for weeks lifted. He didn't run. He didn't judge her. He wanted to know about Mary. From that moment on, Damon asked about Mary constantly. Every time they talked, he made sure to check in on her. "How's Mary doing in school? What's her favorite subject? Is she excited about graduating next year?" He asked questions that showed he genuinely cared, not just about Jennifer, but about her daughter too. It wasn't just small talk. He remembered details. When Jennifer mentioned that Mary loved fashion and wanted to study design in college, Damon remembered it days later and asked follow-up questions. When Jennifer said Mary had been stressed about her SAT scores, Damon sent an encouraging message to pass along to her. He made Jennifer feel like he was already part of their family, even though they had never met in person. Then the gifts started arriving. The first one came 3 weeks after they started talking. Jennifer came home from work to find a delivery box on her doorstep. Inside was a beautiful bouquet of sunflowers, her favorite, with a card that said, "Just because you deserve something beautiful today." Damon! Jennifer cried when she read it. No one had sent her flowers in years. The next week, another package arrived. This time it was for Mary. Inside was a trendy hoodie and a pair of sneakers that Mary had mentioned wanting during one of their family dinners. Jennifer had no idea how Damon knew, but he had clearly been paying attention. Mary was shocked. "Who is this guy, Mom?" she asked, holding up the hoodie with wide eyes. Jennifer smiled. "Just someone I've been talking to. He wanted to do something nice for you." Damon never rushed anything. He was patient in a way that Jennifer had never experienced before. He didn't pressure her for photos or ask when they could meet in person. He just showed up every single day, consistent, attentive, and kind. He listened when Jennifer talked about her struggles at work or her worries about Mary's future. He validated her feelings when she expressed doubt or fear. He told her she was doing an amazing job as a mother and that she deserved to be happy. He made her feel seen in a way that no one else ever had. About a month into their relationship, during a video call, Damon said something that stopped Jennifer's heart. "Jennifer, I've been thinking a lot about us, about you and Mary. I know we haven't met in person yet, but I feel like I already know you both. And I want to help. I want to take care of you." Jennifer didn't know what to say. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice shaking. Damon leaned closer to the camera, his expression serious and sincere. "I mean, I want to be there for you. I want to help with your bills so you're not stressed all the time. I want to help with Mary's college fund so she doesn't have to worry about student loans. I want you both to come here to Georgia so we can build a life together, a real life, a family." Jennifer's mind was racing. Was this real? Could someone actually care this much about her and her daughter after only a month? She wanted to believe it so badly. She wanted to believe that someone could love them both, that someone could take away the fear and exhaustion that had defined her life for the past 3 years. "Damon, that's so generous," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "But I can't ask you to do that. We barely know each other." Damon smiled gently. "You're not asking, I'm offering. Jennifer, I know this might sound fast, but when you know, you know. I've dated a lot of women, and none of them had what you have. Strength, grace, love for your child. That's what I've been looking for my whole life. Let me help you. Let me be the man you and Mary deserve." Damon also started talking about Mary's future more seriously. He asked Jennifer what schools Mary was interested in, how much tuition would cost, whether Mary had applied for scholarships. Jennifer admitted that she was terrified about how she'd afford college for Mary. Even with financial aid, there would still be gaps she couldn't fill. Damon assured her that he would take care of it. "Mary deserves to go to the school of her dreams without worrying about money," he said, "and you deserve to not carry that burden alone anymore. When you both come to Georgia, we'll sit down and figure out a plan. I'll make sure Mary gets everything she needs." Jennifer started imagining what life could look like. No more working herself to exhaustion. No more lying awake at night, worrying about bills. No more guilt about not being able to give Mary the life she deserved. Damon painted a picture of stability and peace that Jennifer hadn't felt in years. He talked about the house they could live in together, big enough for Mary to have her own space, with a backyard and a front porch. He talked about family dinners and holidays and building traditions. He talked about being a father figure to Mary, helping her with college applications, walking her down the aisle one day. He made Jennifer believe that everything she had lost could be found again. For the first time in years, Jennifer felt like her life had meaning beyond just surviving. She felt wanted. She felt valued. She felt like maybe, just maybe, everything she had been through was leading her to this moment, to this man who saw her, loved her, and wanted to build a future with her and her daughter. She didn't see the manipulation. She didn't see the way he was pulling her strings. She didn't see how he was isolating her emotionally by becoming the center of her world. All she saw was hope, and that hope felt like the answer to every prayer she'd ever whispered in the dark. Over the next 2 weeks, Damon handled everything. He booked their flights for the last week of May, round-trip tickets from their city to Atlanta. He sent Jennifer extra money through a mobile payment app so they could buy anything they needed for the trip and have spending cash while they were there. He even researched the best restaurants and attractions in the area so they could have fun during their visit. Jennifer couldn't believe how thoughtful he was. Every detail was planned. Every concern was addressed. He made her feel safe and cared for in a way she hadn't felt in years. But there were people in Jennifer's life who weren't as excited. Her co-worker, Linda, noticed how distracted Jennifer had been at work and asked what was going on. When Jennifer told her about the trip to Georgia, Linda's face fell. "Jennifer, are you sure about this? You've never even met this man in person. You're taking your daughter across the country to stay with a stranger. What if he's not who he says he is?" Jennifer felt defensive immediately. "He's not a stranger, Linda. We've been talking for 2 months. We video call every day. I know him." Linda shook her head. "You know what he's shown you. That's not the same thing. Please just be careful. Take things slow. Don't give him too much trust too fast." Jennifer left work that day feeling frustrated. Why couldn't people just be happy for her? Why did everyone assume the worst? Damon had done nothing but show her and Mary kindness and support. He had never asked her for anything. He had never pressured her. He was just a good man who wanted to help them build a better life. When Jennifer told Damon about Linda's concerns that night on the phone, he sighed. "People who aren't happy in their own lives always try to bring others down," he said. "She probably sees how happy you are and feels threatened by it. Don't let her negativity ruin this for us." Jennifer agreed. She decided not to tell anyone else about the trip. This was her life, her decision, and she was going to trust her gut. Mary, on the other hand, was nothing but excited. She spent hours planning outfits and researching things to do in Georgia. She talked about Damon constantly, how kind he was, how different he was from other men her mom had dated, how he actually cared about her, and not just her mother. "Mom, what if he becomes my stepdad?" Mary asked one night while they were packing. "What if this trip goes well and we really move there? That would be so cool. I could start senior year in a new place. Fresh start. And I'd finally have a dad again." Jennifer's heart ached at her daughter's words. Mary had lost so much when Christian died. She deserved to have a father figure in her life. She deserved stability and love. And if Damon could give her that, then Jennifer was willing to take the risk. The night before the trip, Jennifer lay in bed staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Fear and hope were at war inside her. What if this was a mistake? What if Linda was right and she was being reckless? But then she thought about Damon's voice on the phone every night, telling her how much he cared about her. She thought about the gifts he sent, the way he remembered every detail about Mary, the way he made them both feel important and loved. What's the worst that could happen, she whispered to herself. We go. We meet him. And if it doesn't feel right, we come home. It's just a week. We'll be fine. The next morning, Jennifer and Mary boarded the plane to Georgia. Mary couldn't stop smiling. She took photos out the airplane window and sent them to Damon with messages like, "We're coming! Can't wait to see you!" Jennifer held her daughter's hand during takeoff and silently prayed, "God, please let this be real. Please let him be everything he seems to be. Please protect us." The flight felt like it took forever, but eventually they landed in Atlanta. As they walked through the terminal toward baggage claim, Jennifer's hands were shaking. This was it. She was about to meet the man who had promised to change her life. And then she saw him. Damon was waiting at the arrival gate, holding a bouquet of flowers and wearing the biggest smile she'd ever seen. He was even more handsome in person. Tall, well-dressed, with kind eyes that lit up the moment he saw them. "Jennifer! Mary!" he called out, waving. Mary ran toward him first, and he caught her in a hug. "It's so good to finally meet you in person," he said, pulling back to look at her. "You're even more beautiful than in the video calls." Then he turned to Jennifer and pulled her into his arms. He kissed her gently, and Jennifer felt all her fears melt away. He was real. This was real. Everything was going to be okay. Damon handed Jennifer the flowers and then reached into his pocket. "Mary, I got you something," he said, pulling out a small jewelry box. Mary opened it and gasped. Inside was a delicate silver necklace with a small heart pendant. "I wanted you to have something special to remember this trip," Damon said. Mary threw her arms around him. "Thank you so much, I love it." Jennifer watched her daughter's joy and felt tears prick her eyes. This man was everything she had hoped for. He wasn't just kind to her, he was kind to Mary. He cared about both of them. "Welcome home," Damon said, looking at Jennifer with so much warmth it made her chest ache. And for the first time in 3 years, Jennifer felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. The drive to Damon's place was comfortable and easy. He pointed out landmarks and neighborhoods as they drove through Atlanta. He told them stories about growing up in Georgia and his favorite places to eat. He asked Mary about her flight and whether she was nervous about flying. He held Jennifer's hand across the center console and kept glancing at her with a smile. Everything felt natural. Everything felt right. When they arrived at his house, it was exactly what Jennifer had imagined. A nice suburban home with a front porch and a well-kept yard. "This is beautiful," Jennifer said as they got out of the car. Damon grinned. "Wait until you see inside." He introduced them to a few neighbors who were outside, people he called friends. They waved and smiled and seemed genuinely nice. Jennifer started to relax. This wasn't some sketchy situation. Damon had a real life here, a real home, real friends. Inside, the house was clean and comfortable. Damon gave them a tour, showing them the guest room where they'd be staying, the kitchen, the backyard. "Make yourselves at home," he said. "This is your space for as long as you want to stay." Mary immediately loved the guest room. It had 2 beds and a big window with a view of the backyard. "This is amazing, Mom," she whispered. Jennifer agreed. Everything was perfect. That evening, Damon cooked dinner for them. Grilled chicken, vegetables, and rice. They sat around the table and talked for hours, laughing and sharing stories. Mary told Damon about her friends back home and her plans for college. Damon told them about his work and his dreams for the future. Jennifer watched the two of them interact and felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. This was what family was supposed to feel like. This was what happiness was supposed to feel like. After dinner, they watched a movie together, and Mary fell asleep on the couch. Damon carried her to the guest room, and Jennifer tucked her in. When she came back out, Damon pulled her into his arms. "I'm so glad you're here," he whispered. "This feels right, doesn't it?" Jennifer nodded, tears in her eyes. "It does. It really does." Later that night, after they had all showered and gotten ready for bed, Damon walked into the guest room where Jennifer and Mary were settling in. "Hey, before you go to sleep, can I ask you something?" he said. Jennifer looked up. "Of course. What is it?" Damon hesitated, like he was trying to find the right words. "I know this might sound overprotective, but would you mind giving me your passports? I just want to keep them somewhere safe so you don't lose them while you're here. People travel and misplace things all the time, and I'd hate for you to have to deal with that stress." Jennifer felt a small knot form in her stomach. Something about the request felt off, but she couldn't put her finger on why. "Why do you need our passports?" she asked carefully. Damon smiled gently. "I don't need them. I just want to help you keep track of them. You're on vacation. You should be relaxing, not worrying about where your important documents are. I'll put them in my safe with my own documents, and that way you know they're secure." Jennifer wanted to say no. She wanted to keep control of their documents. But then she thought about everything Damon had done for them. The flights, the money, the kindness, the care. He had given them so much, and all he was asking for was to help keep their passports safe. Was she really going to insult him by refusing? "Okay," Jennifer said slowly, reaching into her bag and pulling out both passports. "But you'll give them back when we need them, right?" Damon took the passports and smiled. "Of course. They're right here whenever you need them. I promise." He kissed her forehead. "Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be a great day." And with that, he left the room, closing the door behind him. Jennifer felt genuinely at peace. Mary was already asleep, her breathing soft and steady. Jennifer lay in the bed next to her daughter, staring at the ceiling with a small smile on her face. Everything had gone perfectly. Damon was exactly who he said he was. Kind, generous, genuine. The house was beautiful. The neighborhood was safe. Jennifer's fears had been for nothing. She whispered a quiet prayer of gratitude before closing her eyes. Thank you, God, for bringing us here. Thank you for this man. Thank you for this second chance. Within minutes, she was asleep. The bedroom door exploded open at 3:47 in the morning. Jennifer jerked awake to the sound of heavy boots pounding across the floor and men shouting in languages she didn't understand. Before she could even process what was happening, the lights flicked on, blinding her. 5 men in dark clothing stormed into the room, their faces covered with bandanas and ski masks. They were holding guns, real guns, pointed directly at her and Mary. Jennifer's scream caught in her throat as terror froze her body. One of the men shouted in heavily accented English, "Don't scream! Don't move! We kill you! We kill you both!" Another man was yelling in what sounded like Chinese, rapid and aggressive. Mary woke up screaming, her voice high and panicked. "Mom! Mom! What's happening?" Jennifer tried to move toward her daughter, but one of the men grabbed her by the hair and yanked her back. "I said don't move!" he screamed, pressing the cold barrel of the gun against her temple. Jennifer's entire body went rigid with fear. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't think. All she could hear was Mary's terrified sobs and the shouting of the men surrounding them. This couldn't be real. This had to be a nightmare. But the pain in her scalp where the man gripped her hair and the icy metal of the gun against her skin told her this was happening. This was real, and she had no idea why. "Damon!" Jennifer screamed as loud as she could. "Damon, help us, please! Someone's in the house! Damon!" She kept screaming his name over and over, praying he would hear her and come running. He would stop this. He would protect them. He had to. But the men just laughed. One of them grabbed Mary by the arm and dragged her out of the bed. Mary fought, kicking and clawing, but she was no match for the man's strength. "Mom! Mom, please!" Mary cried, reaching out for Jennifer. Jennifer lunged forward, pure instinct driving her to protect her child. But she didn't even make it 2 steps before a fist connected with her face. The impact sent her sprawling to the floor, her vision exploding with stars. Blood filled her mouth, hot and metallic. Her nose throbbed with pain. She could hear Mary screaming her name, but everything sounded distant and muffled. Rough hands grabbed Jennifer and flipped her onto her stomach. Someone yanked her arms behind her back, and she felt the sharp bite of a zip tie cutting into her wrists. She struggled, twisting and trying to break free, but another blow landed on the back of her head. Pain exploded through her skull, and she went limp. "Stop fighting, or we kill the girl," one of the men hissed in her ear. Jennifer stopped moving immediately. She couldn't let them hurt Mary. She couldn't. A blindfold was tied tightly around her eyes, plunging her into complete darkness. She could still hear Mary sobbing somewhere nearby, begging them to stop. Jennifer's heart was racing so fast she thought it might explode. "Please," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Please don't hurt my daughter. Please, I'll do anything. Just don't hurt her." "Damon!" Jennifer screamed again, desperation tearing through her voice. "Damon, please! Where are you? Help us!" And then she heard it. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming down toward the guest room. Relief flooded through Jennifer's body. He was coming. Damon was coming to save them. He would stop this. He would make it right. But when the footsteps stopped at the doorway, no one rushed in to help. No one told the armed men to get out. Instead, there was only silence. And then a voice. Damon's voice. But it sounded nothing like the warm, loving tone she had come to know. It was cold, flat, empty. "Stop calling that name," Damon said quietly. "That's not who I am." Jennifer's blood turned to ice. She couldn't have heard him right. That couldn't be Damon. That couldn't be the man who had sent her flowers and called her beautiful and promised to take care of her and Mary. "Damon," Jennifer whispered, her voice shaking. "What's happening? Why are you letting them do this? Please help us. Please." She waited for him to say something, anything, that would make this make sense. But what came out of his mouth next destroyed every ounce of hope she had left. "You thought all that money I spent was charity," Damon said, his voice dripping with contempt. "You thought I did all that out of love? Out of the kindness of my heart? No, Jennifer, you're going to pay it back. Both of you, every cent. with interest. Jennifer felt like the floor had disappeared beneath her. Her mind couldn't process what she was hearing. What? What are you talking about? She stammered. You said you cared about us. You said you wanted to help us. You said, Damon cut her off with a harsh laugh. I said what you needed to hear. I did what I needed to do to get you here. And you fell for it, just like all the others. Jennifer's entire body started shaking. This couldn't be happening. This man she had trusted, this man she had introduced to her daughter, this man she had let into their lives,